Hey everybody, this is Mark Baumgartner, social studies teacher in House 2 at Senate. Today I'm going to do just a quick video, well hopefully quick video, about how you can use two different web tools to grade and assess Google Docs that give really great feedback for the students and make it a lot easier to do digital grading. I know grading can be intimidating when you don't have the paper in front of you and the rubric sitting right next to you, and so having a tool like this really makes it a little bit more comfortable to be able to get done what you want to get done. So first step is going to be to set up the two different web apps that you need. You need two things, Doctopus and Goobric. To get to Goobric, we'll do that one first. You do go to the Chrome store, so chrome.google.com, and you're just going to do a search for, go back to here, you're just going to do a search for Goobric. And you'll see Goobric Web App Launcher. You just have to add it. It'll probably ask you, hey, you need to allow us to access this, that, and the other thing, and you just say yes, they can access it, it's all good. And so that part's done. Once you've done that, you'll see a little icon in the corner whenever you're on a page that Goobric can help you with. So we've got one installed. To get the other one installed, you have to be on a spreadsheet. And so I'm just going to start the actual process here first to show you how to get that going. So I went to the folder that I wanted to be in, so I'm going to use one from my Social Studies B, Block 1, in my Google Classroom. So I went to that Classroom folder. That's all this junk that I have in there. I'm going to click on New, and I'm going to make a spreadsheet. This is the spreadsheet that's going to have the links to the files, and it'll have the grades once I've gone through and done the grading. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to give it a fancy title, to be Egypt Essays, because that's what I'll be grading is my Egypt Essays. Now that assignment has already been shared out. That's something they worked on in Classroom, and you can see it's just Egypt written essay. The way it was assigned was they would open it and they would have an Egypt essay that it made a copy of that was kind of a template for them to work with. So you don't really even need to go to Classroom to do this. The second part here, so we added Goobric, now we need to add Doctopus. Now I've already got it on there, but let me show you how to do it. You're going to click on Add-ons, Get Add-ons, because we're going to add a new one. And you can see it's almost always going to be at the top because it's really, really popular with educators. And so Doctopus is right at the top, otherwise Doctopus, spelled just like octopus with a D. And you'll add it. And just like we did with Goobric, it might ask you, hey, is it okay if we take a look at your blah, blah, blah? And you just say yes, it's fine. So once that's added, okay, so now I have my spreadsheet that I want to have all my information come onto. I'm going to go to my add-ons, Doctopus, and launch it. So it's going to work to launch, get everything going. Sometimes it takes a minute, a few seconds. Be patient. It's coming. Okay, so when it pops up, you'll see over here on the side, this is kind of like the dashboard for Doctopus. I want to use Doctopus to select the mode. So what I want to do is I want to take a Google Classroom assignment and put it together here. So I'm going to say ingest a Google Classroom assignment. There are other ways you can use Doctopus, but this is probably the most accessible and easy way, and it integrates well with Google Classroom. So ingest a Google Class. It goes through my Google Drive and figures out, okay, what are your Google classes that you have set up? And so it finds in here all of my classes. And so I'm going to say I want my Social Studies B Block 1. Those are the assignments. There's an assignment for that class. Now I'm going to select the assignment. I want my Egypt written essay. And as far as I can tell, any assignment that you have ever put into Google Classroom will show up in this drop-down. And so even if it's something that you did at the beginning of the quarter that you just haven't been able to assess for whatever reason, it should still show up in here. So I'm going to say Egypt written essay. Now this is again going to take a while, so I'm going to pause the recording and we'll come back once it's ready. Okay, so that took about 30 seconds, but now it comes up. You kind of got to be patient with it sometimes. So it says it found 30 turned in files for the assignment, and 2 that have not yet been turned in. You can tell it, okay, I only want to grade the ones that are turned in, or you can let it just get all of them. And I'm just going to let it get all of them because chances are it's because the kid didn't push the button to turn it in. So I'm going to click Ingest Assignment. Now what that is going to do is it's going to take and go through all of those documents that are in that folder for Google Classroom, and it's going to copy them over onto this spreadsheet. It's going to get all of their links, their names associated with it, their email that's associated with it, and it's going to put it all together on a spreadsheet. And again, this takes a few seconds to happen. Okay, so you can see here that it just kind of populated the spreadsheet with all of the folks who have done the assignment. It's got the file name that was there, a link to that file, their email shows up, last name, first name, the whole 9 yards comes into here so that you have it all. It'll also tell me who were the people who turned it in and didn't turn it in. So that's all set up for us. It brings it in, everything is set up and ready to go. So to actually go through and grade it now using the rubric, you have to give it, okay, what is the rubric you want them to use? So over here on the side it says attach Goobric. That's what I want to do. So I've already made a rubric on a spreadsheet here. And to make the rubrics, it's super simple. You just make it like you would look at a normal rubric. So I've got 4, 3, 2, 1 at the top here. I've got my different categories on the side here, and then sort of the criteria to meet those different grade levels right in there. So now I've got that set up, so I'm going to come back to here. It's going to ask me, did you mean Egypt essay rubric? And I'm going to say, yes, I did. Attach the rubric. Now it seems like there's a lot of steps to get this set up, but it really does save a lot of time, and I'll show you just kind of how cool the interface is here once we're actually grading a paper. So that's attaching and it's getting it ready so that when we go in to edit a document, it's able to look up, okay, so what is it that the kids were supposed to do? What is on the rubric for how we grade it? So once you have imported it and had the rubric attached, it actually is going to make columns for each of your standards that you put in for your categories. So once you've graded the paper, it's going to show up that student score right along in here. There's also a new tab that it creates that has those grades as well. But now let's get to the main show here. So now I want to grade a paper. There's a lot of setup, but let's see how easy it makes it when I actually go to grade the paper. So I'm going to click on Madison Feldhausen, great young lady. And I'm going to open her essay. And you can see this was part of the template that I had in Google Classroom, so they kind of all were on the same page for what they needed to do. And then this is her actual essay. So I want to use Goobric. And you'll see in the corner here this weird little creepy eye pops up to say, hey, you can use Goobric on this document. So I click that, and it's going to switch me over to a new tab. All right? And it's just going to change my view a little bit to where you can see at the top here, it's got the organization category for my rubric. So as I go through and I grade here, I say 3 paragraphs, blah, blah, blah. So yes, it looks like she got a 3 for that. So I can do 2 things. I can click it and then click to the next detail or the next idea, and it'll populate those things from there. I can say, you know, she got a 1 for that. Another thing I can do is if I just have my cursor in the box here, this is usually what I'll do. I can say, okay, that's a 2, hit tab, hit 1 there, and then tab out from there. So it's sometimes easier instead of having to click back and forth to do that. When I'm done, I can put in word comments, so like a written comment, pretty good, Madison. I can also do a voice recording. If I click here, you'll see that it's going to pop up with a way to record a little voice sample. Let's see if it'll actually play it back for me. So I don't know if this is picking up on the recording, but it does actually have the recording there. And once you've done your recording, you can hit it in the garbage if you don't want to have it there, or you can click this and it'll put it on Google Drive so that it's attached to Madison's graded paper. Once you have graded the paper, and I should actually grade this before I go to the next step, so just give me a second. So I went through, I got the actual grade that I want to send to Madison. And what I'm going to do here is, by default, it's going to email her her score, and it's going to automatically send me on to the next student's paper. So all I have to do is hit submit, and it does two things. It emails her a copy of the rubric that's been scored, and it also is going to go back to her essay, and when she opens her document to look at it, it's also going to put a copy of that rubric right at the bottom, along with my written comment. So, again, kind of a pain to set up, but once you get everything put into onto the spreadsheet, it makes it really easy to just look through. Okay, I'm going to read this pretty quickly. Pharaoh was a good pharaoh. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's a 3, that's a 2, blah, blah, blah. Voice comment if you want it, submit, and you're done. Move on to the next paper. So difficult to give specific comments in there really easily. You still would have to, make a comment this way and blah, 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 and go through that way. So that part is still kind of tricky when you're doing digital grading. But as far as just getting that rubric back to them, this is really very helpful. And I've used it quite a bit. So if you have any questions, come see me. Sorry this was such a long video, but I am happy to help.